Hi. Okay, so today we're going to work on the lid that goes inside of the top here, and it will cover a journal that will eventually go in here. So let's go ahead and get the measurements on that so that you can cut your chipboard, and then we will go ahead and poke a hole because we have to put a little pull that we can pull that out of that space. So what you're going to need is you're going to need your mat and about 2 pieces of chipboard, your rulers, your bone folder, and your pencil, and then you'll need an awl, and I'm going to use this big ruler that I have. So the big piece is going to be 9 3/8 by 6.5. You only need one of those. And then our sides, we will have 2 sides at 9.5 by 1.5, and then 2 sides that are 6.5 by 1.5. So before we start putting this together, gluing this together, I'm going to go ahead and mark this, and I want to find the exact center. So I'm going to use my pencil. And this is 9 3/8. So I know that half of 9 is 4.5. And then half of 3/8, that's a little bit more tricky. That's going to be about 1.5. Okay. And then we're going to do it this way. We're going to go ahead and, so this is 6.5, so we need 3.25. So I'm going to draw a line this way, and then I'm going to put my mark there. So basically I've drawn a line halfway. I measured this way, and that's halfway, and then this little mark is my halfway between here and here. So let me just check that to make sure. It looks a little weird. Yeah, I put it at the 3, and I need to put it at 3.25. So we actually want it there. So I'm going to draw a little line right there. So that's my intersecting point. That'll be halfway between both ends, all 4 ends. So I'm going to take my awl, and I'm going to go ahead and put a hole through there. Now be careful when you're poking on this side. You don't want the awl. So there we go. Now the nice thing about this is we're going to cover one side, the outside, and then we'll go ahead and put our measure in. And so as long as you have one hole, then even if you cover this with paper, you can come back on the other side and make your mark through that paper so that you know where you want to put your lid. Okay, so what we're going to do is basically we're just going to do exactly like we've done before to connect our sides to our base. And in order to do that, you're going to need some of your papers, and I'm going to get some of these smaller pieces as well as some of the larger pieces so I can use them up. And then I need a few bigger ones. Okay. So the other thing you will need is your glue. I'm sorry, I didn't specify that at the beginning, so we're going to need that. Okay, so we're going to do our edges just like we did on any other box that we make. We're going to measure them from this side to this side, and I fold them, and then I cut them. And these ones are going to be my outside, so I'm going to do a not perfect triangle, which means that I take a little triangle off the edge, but at the top there's still a line. And so I'm going to do that on both sides. Okay, that's one. Let's make another one, and I will make it flush here. I will come across, oops, I will come across here, fold, cut, cut my fold off, and then I will go ahead and make my not perfect triangles. Okay. So the other two that I want to make, these are my two that are my long edges. The other two that I want to make are for this side, and I don't think I have any leftovers. Oh, this might be long enough. Yeah, these will. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and measure this one. Fold it. That might be just big enough, and these are not perfect triangles. And again, we'll do this. And make not perfect triangles. Okay, so this is just like we did any other box. I'm going to go ahead and on the, where it's folded on the inside, I'm going to put glue. And I kind of keep it away from the fold because I don't want it to get stuck. So then I like to put mine kind of this way. Some people do it the other way. And I'll use the warmth of my hand, first of all, to go ahead and get that down, but then I use my bone folder to burnish it. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. I will put my glue just inside the fold. And I will lay it on my chipboard first. Use the warmth of your hand and then go ahead and burnish it down with your burnishing tool. Whether it's some people use this, some people use things from their Cricut. It doesn't matter as long as you can push really hard on it to get it kind of down. Okay, then we're going to put our other edges on. And again, I open the folded end, put it on the inside. I don't put it by my fold. I keep it just a little bit away from that fold. And I get it as square as I can. Use the warmth of your hand. Now this is the one where we go ahead and burnish, and I push it where this edge of the other one is. I push it into that edge and then I take it over my side. So I will do that on this side also. I'm going to burnish up to the other piece of tape that we've put, our connecting tape, and then I will burnish down the side. Okay, we're going to do one last one. Okay, there we go. We have those on the outside now. Okay, so the next thing you're going to want to do is we're going to put our sides on. And I want to make sure that I don't glue those right up to the edge. So I'm going to use a scrap piece of chipboard, the same width here is this, and that will give me my spacing. So what I want to start with my shorter sides first. Where are my shorter ones? I'll be right back. Okay, there's my shorter ones, and there are my longer ones. So these ones are going to be quite square to the edges the whole way through, but we do want to keep a little bit of a space between the two of them, the base and the side. So the way I do that is I'm going to go ahead and put glue. I don't want to put it right up to my chipboard piece. I do want to keep it just a little bit away so that those two don't get connected and then won't fold. Now I'm going to use this as my spacer, and basically I just put it on here and push it as far towards my base as I can. Now these ones, I do want to make sure that they're in line on the sides. These sides are in line, and I got a little extra glue, so I'm going to kind of rub that away. And then I'm going to go ahead and burnish that. So what that does, when you have that little bit of space, then it makes it easier for your side to come up. If you put them exactly together, then you can't fold this. It has nowhere to go. You have to have that little bit of space. So let's do the other side. And we're going to put our glue just inside the fold line, to the right of my fold line I'm doing. If you're left-handed, it'll be to the left. And again, I'm going to use my spacer. I'm going to kind of lay that down in where I want that gully to be, that space. Now these I want to kind of get in line with my sides, with this side. And I did it again. I got too much glue, so I'm going to take some of that out so it doesn't get on anything that I don't want it to. And then I'm going to flip it and burnish. So this should be one continuous line from this edge straight down through the base to here. It should be exactly straight. We do have little spaces in between them. Now, these sides, the measurements I gave you, they're just a little bit bigger. This is 9 3/8, and this is 9 1/2. So you have a little bit, you have about 1/8 of an inch over here. What we want to do is we want to divide that and put this so that it is just a little bit past the base. And I don't know if you can see that. If I pull that up, can you see how it's just a little bit past this edge of my base? And so I'm going to go ahead and put my glue on here. Keep it in away from your fold. And you can use your spacer, because you want to be able to keep yourself a little bit of space. Now, basically what I do is I try to get the top edge of my side in line with the bottom of this piece. So that should just about give me 1/8 of an inch on both sides. Yep. So I'm going to push that down, pull this out, flip it, and burnish it. Okay, that looks good. So I'm going to flip this and do the other side the exact same way. I'm going to glue away from my fold. I'm going to use my spacer. And I kind of push it that way so that it's up against here. And again, I want to make sure that the edge that this edge of this piece is at the bottom of this piece. I don't want it in line here like we did the other ones. This comes out just a little bit further. And then I'm going to go ahead and burnish it so that it sticks pretty well. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut the inside of these, and then we're going to do our edges. So I actually could have cut these before I glued it, but I didn't. So we're just going to take it here, and I'm going to cut. Now these, when I cut the corners of these, I make them exact triangles. So you can see that's pointed. So will this one be. It will be pointed. And I'm going to make another one for this side. And then I have to make 2 small ones. So I know that these end pieces are exactly square to this, so that's what I'm going to use. And I need one more. Now these are our insides, and this is how I make sure that I know these are insides, is by making the point. That tells me those go on the inside. So then the next thing that we want to go ahead and make corners both for the inside and the outside. So you're going to need 8 of these. So I'm going to do 1, 2, that's weird. See if any of these will fit. Oh, that one fits just about perfect. So there's 3. 4. So we need 4 more. So let's do this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so so we have 4 for the inside and 4 for the outside. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and I'm going to cut my angles, and my outside ones I make not perfect squares. So I'm going to do all 4 of those first. And I'm making a mess. It's not going in my trash bucket first. And they're not perfect, but they will get covered with paper, pretty paper. So what that tells me is those are my outside ones. And then my inside ones, I make perfect squares. And it doesn't have to be a lot. You can just take a very tiny bit off. Now remember, your point wants to be at the folded point. So if you're cutting from the outside, that's your bigger area of your triangle. We've done quite a few of these, so I'm hoping that you're getting a little bit more comfortable with making boxes and books and things. Okay, so I want to go ahead and take my small ones. We want to work on the small side first, because those are the edges that go in a line the whole way through. And I'm going to make sure that this fits and doesn't go over. Oh, perfect. And this fits and doesn't go over. Okay, this one's just a little bit big, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that just a little bit more. Okay, those are the ones. So we want to put our outside ones on first. So go ahead and turn this over so that all of your connecting lines are there. And I'm going to just do one side, and it's just like when we did the inside. I want to keep my glue away from my fold. And there we go. Now this is so little, I'm going to hold it on one edge as I burnish it so it doesn't move. Otherwise, some of these little pieces will move on you. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. I want to put my glue in here first. And I want to get it square with my top and my bottom. So I'm going to hold it just a little bit till I get that burnished. And then we'll do the other two sides. And this should be my last outside connector. So then we'll work on the inside. And we'll work on getting our, oops, see that moved. There we go. Okay, so we can flip it to the inside now. So what I want to do is I want to do these smaller pieces first. And sometimes the easiest thing to do, now you knew that we were putting glue on the inside of our fold. We want to put glue on our outside this time. And we just want to put it on one side. And I'm going to go ahead and try and get it as close to the edge of my base as I can. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and burnish that down. And I have some excess glue. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that excess glue so that it doesn't make something stick that I don't want to stick. So, since we have this in, I'm going to go ahead and actually, I'm going to put all these in before we do that, because it'll just make it a little bit easier getting these in. So let's go ahead and put glue on the outside of this. And again, I want to get it as close to the edge of my base as I can without going over. There we go. Looks good. So I'm going to burnish that down, open it and burnish it a little more. Now I'm going to go ahead and put these ones on too. It's just a little bit easier if I do that. Oops, that's not these. You can tell because it wasn't cut. See, that helps to cut them. So let's go ahead and put glue on this. Today has seemed like such a long day. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and again put this as close to the edge of my base as I can get it without going over. And there we go. Burnish all that down, open it, there we go, and then let's put this last one in. For as long as I've been doing this, I still learn something new. Okay. And I don't want that to go over. For those of you that are watching, I have been starting a Friday fiber session, and I made a mistake with my first Friday fiber, so I went ahead and redid it. It's back up. It's just flipped so that it looks like you're looking at it was upside down, and so I fixed it. For those of you who are doing knitting with us also. Okay, So that looks good. So the next thing I want to do is I want to pull these little tabs on the edges out just a little bit, because I'm going to glue this to this. Now, I am going to go ahead and push on the bottom of this so that this edge of this piece is actually on my table, and we are attaching the base side to the inside of this. And let me show you how I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and put glue on this piece of connector, and then I'm going to put some glue down in that valley between the two pieces. And so then I am going to push right here at this edge so that it kind of stays square to my table. And then I'm going to pull up the part that I've just glued and push it against this piece. And then I will burnish it with this. So I hope you can kind of see that. It's standing up. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to put my glue down first on my connecting piece. And then we're going to put a little bead of glue inside of that valley. And I didn't get it everywhere. I'm going to put some more. So then we're going to push right about here on our edge. Make sure these are out. I'm going to push so that that stays in contact with my table. And then I'm going to go ahead and push the glue into that and burnish it. And you can see that one did too. Now, I want to make sure these are out so they don't get stuck on the inside. And I'm going to do pretty much the same with these larger edges, the longer ones. That's a hair. I don't want that hair getting glued in there. I think it's too late. I'll get it later. Cut it with my scissors. And again, I'm going to put glue in that valley. Now, this one, I'm going to push the same way, and then I'm going to put this, I'm going to lay it on its side and burnish it. Now, while I've got these two sides going, this edge, the long edge, this edge, should overlap this. So when I put my glue on this, I will put my glue not only on my connecting paper, but I'm going to try and put a little bead right on that edge. So I want this to be on the outside. And yep, I used too much glue. There we go. So I'm going to use my hand to kind of support that while I burnish it. And then I'm going to do the other side. Let's go ahead and push this, put a bead of glue down here, push on this, and then go ahead. Burnish. So then I'm going to put glue on this connector and a little bit on that edge. Push these two together, fold this over. There we go. You can lay it on its side and burnish, but then make sure that you lift it up and hold the inside and burnish on the outside also. It gives it just a little bit better hold. So let's go ahead and do this side. We want to put our glue, and that's bothering me, that piece of hair. I don't want a piece of hair in there. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put glue on my connecting piece and just a little bit on the edge of that short side. I'm going to make sure that this one overlaps that one. And then I'm going to burnish it also on the outside. It just holds it just a little bit better. And let's do this last edge. Oh, I want to put just a little bit of glue right there. Okay, so the last thing that we want to do is we want to put these corners in here. And I'm going to check because these are all just about the same size. Yeah, okay. So on the outside, which will become the inside, but I want you to realize the folded part is the outside. I'm going to put glue on the entire piece. And then I'm going to take it and push it into that corner. And I'm going to burnish it on both sides. Okay, we're going to take another piece, put glue on the entire outside, which means it folds in. And we're going to go ahead and push that into the corner. Use the warmth of your hand. And I'm going to burnish it. And we should have two more. I'm missing one. I am missing one. I'm going to drop it. I don't see it. Okay, I'm just checking to make sure I haven't already put one in this corner. So I'm missing one of these. Oh, there it is. Okay. I was going to say, give me a minute and I'll make one, but I found it. Okay, and I'm going to look to make sure I don't have one in there. Push it in. Burnish. Okay, so there we go. Now, I am not going to put that in here because I won't be able to get it back out. But I am going to, yep, goes that way, and it fits that way. Okay, so we are done making our little extra lid, our inner lid. We will decorate this next time, the outsides, and then we will put our little pool that we are going to use. Let me see if I have my pool. Yeah, ouch, ouch, ouch. Here it is. It's just a cute little dealie that has a ring. You can actually add chain to this and then put some little pretty little things, charms on it if you want. But this will, after we get this decorated, this will go in through here. Okay, so I'm glad you joined me today. And we will go ahead and decorate next time and start making this all pretty. We'll decorate all of this and then we'll move along. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this. I'll see you again later. Bye-bye.